Welcome to the Attic Manadad. Here, it's the show where we talk about what's good in the Meta Mondays. Normally, we just focus on arena gameplay, but we'll talk about what's going on in Magic Online and in paper, as we always do on Mondays in the meta. It's been a busy summer. Why is summer so busy? No one told me when you have kids, summer is like crazy with all the camps and everything. My oldest daughter, 7-year-old, actually is home, does not have camp this week. She's doing dad camp. Got her watching K-pop Demon Hunters with a neighborhood girl right now. And then my youngest is about to finish up preschool, going to kindergarten, so that's very exciting. And there's just lots of stuff going on all the time. Anyway, here to talk about the meta, but I will get to the meta. I want to make a note because somebody left a comment on one of my videos this week saying 60% was not a good win rate. I posted a video, I showed the deck gotten a 60% win rate. Admittedly, can't play a ton of games with every deck to really like get a good sample size, but if you play your 5 games with the deck and you're winning 3 out of the 5 games, I mean, that's an encouraging start for a deck. I don't know how much else you can ask for in a video. A lot of other content creators just don't even show the games where they lose or talk about them, but I at least always show the win rate of the deck, even if I can't fit all the games into the video. So that was about to be interrupted by a child. This is my comment on a 60% win rate for a deck is really good. So when we show these win rates and stuff here on the Meta Mondays, and you see, and I comment like on a 65% win rate or something being really good. I mean, that's because look, this is, if you look at decks that have had 100+ matches, okay, so that's a pretty good sample size. This deck, by the way, has had 53,000 matches and is still getting a 58.2% win rate. And this is a little spoiler alert, because this deck is mono white Lifegain. I've played a version of this on the channel. Healer's Hawk, Hinterland Sanctifier, Leonin Vanguard, Ruin Lurker Bat, Johnny's Pridemate, Essence Channeler, 4 Lindens, 2 Exemplar of Light, 4 Sheltered by Ghost, Vanishing Light, Leyline of Hope, and 20 Plains. That deck list, if you're playing best of 1, that is a 58.2% win rate. There is no other deck with 100+ matches or more in all of the stuff that's being logged here by untapped.gg that beats that. All right, and let's jump. Now we can jump to the meta. So, as I said, spoiler, win rate today, it's not winning according to its historical average, mono white Lifegain. You can maybe see because mono red aggro is also winning, and those two, and then Boros Burn. Boros Burn combines, Lifegain with some aggro elements, so that's pretty interesting. Dimir midrange at number 4. And nowhere in terms of win rate is the Vivi Cauldron deck. And we do have Is It Prowess here. So I guess that might be the Vivi Cauldron deck if I click on this in terms of popularity. So people in best of 1 really preying upon Vivi. Yeah, this is Vivi Cauldron. It looks like it's putting Vivi Cauldron decks under Is It Prowess. So normally people separate that. I don't understand why untapped.gg buckets certain decks as they do, but they do. So, and then here's Selesnya Rabbits at 7. That's often high up in win rate, surprisingly. These kind of Timmy sort of decks, as they call them, where people do kind of stuff that appeals to less spiky players, I guess I would say. And look at the landfall decks, also very popular. So, yeah, popular and also winning. Mono green landfall, popular, not necessarily winning. I guess it's, what is it at? 54.4% win rate. That's still not bad. So it's an interesting thing here in standard best of 1. We can just take a quick look at what it's like in Diamond and Mythic. When you go up to Diamond and Mythic, the win rate, it's much different, I guess. Dimir midrange, Jeskai Artifacts, mono white Lifegain still number 2 in popularity, but it's fallen off. So people in the higher ranks seem to know how to deal with mono white Lifegain. But if you're just there and you're trying to get your quests and you want to win some games, I mean, look at this, mono white Lifegain. All right, so that's best of one. A lot of competitive players really only care about best of three, and then that's a different story, right? Is it Vivi? Which is interesting. They call that Is it Vivi? I don't know. I mean, what are they calling Is it Vivi? Number one in popularity. Is it somehow okay? Apparently, we broke in untap.gg. By the way, I pay for this data so I can share it with you on Mondays. So if you want to help out, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe. Yeah, Gruul Landfall though is the highest win rate in best of three on Arena, and we're going to talk about what's the data in paper and Magic Online here shortly. But on Arena, Gruul Landfall, and it's pretty standard stuff. It looks like Bristly Bill, 4 of Tifa, 4 of Mossborn Hydra, 4 of. This is the one that Saffron Olive compares to Infect deck, 2 Ice Tillers, 4 Traveling Chocobos. World Soul's Rage is kind of the tech, I think, that makes this Gruul Landfall. I don't think there's anything else that's red except in the sideboard here. You can do Magebane Lizard to deal with the decks that are storming off. So 4 Escape Tunnels, 1 Evolving Wilds, 2 Terramorphic Expanse, 1 Mountain, 14 Forests. If it will pass it. So if you don't get your mountain, it feels like at least 1 or 2 of these forests could also be devoted to a red source, just as a backup. You got Dragonback Assault. What you put in your 1 island? Interestingly, Repulsive Mutation. Put X+1/+1 counters on target creature, then counter up to 1 target spell unless its controller pays mana equal to the greatest power among creatures. Seed Ship Impact, dealing with artifacts and enchantments. And you can bring in 2 more Icetail Explorers. Interesting deck, 23,000 matches again. This is the number 1 most winning deck here. 58.3% win rate. A 60% win rate is very good, guys. I know most of you know that. But I just want to, if there's anybody else out there besides the commenter who was thinking, 60%, that doesn't sound very good. You're losing 2 out of 5. It's good. It's good. In Magic, like the pros are really happy with 54, 55% win rate. Obviously if you spike a tournament, you're going to have a great win rate, but that's when you're talking about in terms of matchups. If against the field you're winning 58.3% of your matches, that's pretty good in Magic terms. So okay, let's take a look at the standard metagame according to MTG Goldfish, which uses stuff from leagues and challenges on MTG Online. It sometimes has paper. RCQ Season 4 Round 2 Standard Gibson's Cosmic cards. They only have 3 decks recorded, and they have a Dimir at 7th. So I don't know what was going on with that. That might have been the big tournament of the weekend, but we maybe just don't have the data yet. But anyways, kind of unexpected, or not unexpectedly, Is It Cauldron still dominating. But what's surprising to me is, I feel like last week, you could go run the tape back, Dimir midrange had fallen to it was still like the number 2, but it was at 12% or something. It was like half of Is It Cauldron. So to me, it looks like both Cauldron and midrange, Dimir midrange gained. And then you have a pretty solid Is It Prowess at 7.9, Esper Bounce at 7.8, Azorius Control at 7.4. And everything else is like second tier, it looks like. And I know Azorius Control took down a big tournament recently. I saw on Blue Sky. Here's some 5-0s. It looks like a mix of stuff here. Dimir Midrange, Cauldron, Orzhov Artifacts, Esper Control. Flood Color combo continues to be something that if you're an advanced player, you can pull off wins with. This standard challenge was pretty well dominated by Is It Cauldron. Obviously, last week we talked about the tournament where 7 out of the top 8 were Is It Cauldron decks. But it looks like we're at least seeing the metagame respond to the dominance of Is It Cauldron by trying out some things that can beat it. And I haven't done too much research. If you know, what is the deck that has the most favorable matchup against Is It Cauldron? I guess we could possibly learn, if the data isn't too terrible here on untap.gg, we could find an Is It Cauldron deck. So Is It Vivi? And this individual player, by the way, is has got a 90% win rate. They got 30 games. That's still fantastic. I don't know how you get to win rate 90% when you have 72% on the play, 79% on the draw. It must just be how it calculates with best of 3. But anyways, it looks like the worst matchup is the mirror match. There's only 2 games there, 50%. So this is an absolutely dominating player. They have kind of a little bit of a different build, it looks like. Marauding Mako into the Flood Maw. I mean, not that different. So, yeah, what if you want to beat Is It Vivi? What do you play? Again, it's not. Click on this one. Will it give me some data? No. Okay. Untapped.gg, not doing great. Let's find another Is It Vivi. So here's a mythic player. They only had a 50% win rate with Is It Vivi. And they played, okay. So what was beating them? Probably Esper Control. Like the mirror match. They lost 2 of the mirror match. They lost 3 matches to Mono Black. So maybe Mono Black is something to consider. This is probably Control. White blue deck. Could be artifacts, but anyways, yeah. I mean, geez, imagine playing for a 5-hour session and you go 9 and 12. It's a big ouch. So it doesn't seem to be invincible. Let's look at this Mono Black Demons list that seems to have a good win rate. And I'll also, while this is loading, because apparently my internet is slow, I'll check and see if there's any comments. Anybody have any questions yet? Okay. Bueller, anyone? Just comment, leave a comment. If if you're not watching live, you can still leave a comment and I'll come back and answer when I can. Again, looks like just a loss to Jeskai. So that was a pretty good session there for them, 12 and 1, about 3 hours. Looks like they did some deck modifications as they went along, ranking up through Diamond. And this is what, 2 Cecils, 2 Duresses, 2 Tragic Trajectories. This is like the kind of deck list I do where I split between a lot of stuff. 4 Deep Cavern Rats, 3 Demon Walls. It's interesting. I definitely have played against this deck with comes out with the Demon Wall, follows it up with the Unholy Annex. Obviously the Unstoppable Slasher thing with Bloodletter of Aclazon. It's only running 3 Bloodletters. 3 Thoughtstalker Warlocks is interesting, and 3 Arch Enemies Charms. So that's kind of interesting. 1 Secluded Starforge too. I would be interested in doing a video of this. I'm not going to promise anything. I thought I was going to have plenty of time last week to make videos. I ended up spending time fixing appliances. I fixed my dryer. Now my washing machine is on the fritz. So I guess I got to be putting time into that when I'm not running dad camp here. So yeah. Let's take a look at some other formats. We got Pioneer. There's never a lot of data in best of 3, so we'll just look at best of 1 on Arena. It looks like Mono White again. Mono White Humans. Popularity, Rakdos Aggro, Mono Red Aggro, Selesnya Angels. These are probably similar Rakdos Aggro. Anytime it says Rakdos Aggro, it usually just means Mono Red Aggro with like occasional splash of a card that may not even be able to cast. So yeah, it looks like Mono Red Aggro has just been pretty solid. It's kind of had a little bit of a downtrend, but not like Rakdos Aggro. And what is on the uptrend here? Esper Greasefang. So Greasefang is coming in. Is It Phoenix is staging a comeback recently. Mono Black Midrange staging a comeback recently in terms of win rate. Let's take a look at Pioneer over here. And we've got Mono Red Aggro, far and away the number 1. Rakdos Midrange at 12.5% to the 26.1% of Mono Red Aggro. Azorius Control at 7.8. Greasefang 6.0. Is It Phoenix 5.7. Angels 4.8. But I do know I've been seeing some, there's Angels at number 3. I thought I saw some lists going around. Here's a Pioneer Challenge. Yeah, that got won by Angels. So Angels can still take it down. And here's another challenge that got won by Angels recently. Yeah, so I thought Angels had a pretty decent week in terms of being in the top 8 of some of these challenges, and it has. And as long as we're here, let's see. No, we don't see Timeless. We'll get the data directly on those. Pauper, Blue Terror. Again, the Pauper metagame looking like there's just a lot of viable decks. Blue Terror still on top, followed by Jun Wildfire, Spy Combo. Madness Burn, which had been on top in recent weeks, now at the number 4 spot. High Tide Combo making a comeback. That's interesting. I almost skipped over that, but I seen people saying what was the result of unbanning High Tide, and a lot of people were playing it, but it wasn't actually winning that much. But look at this. I mean, 7% of the metagame. I don't know if that means did it win one recently, or if there have been some like the people just getting better at playing it because it is a little advanced to play. I'm not seeing it. Okay, there it is at 7th place. I don't know how much people are interested in Pauper. I'm totally Pauper curious. I don't play it on a regular basis. I do play the Arena Pauper events, and those videos are always popular. And I would like to branch out into Pauper on Magic Online, but you know, I say not a lot of bandwidth at the moment. Legacy, Dimir Reanimator, far and away the number 1. Vintage Mono White Initiative is number 1 at 17.2%, but Jewel Shops is 13.1%, Esper Luris at 11.5%, so it looks like pretty competitive metagame there at the top. And see what they have for Commander. Hearthhull. And I do have a Hearthhull deck if you want to see that. I don't have an Ishtola deck, which I should make an Ishtola. Ishtola is just one of the most busted of commanders when I read it. I almost think it might not be fun, but maybe it's fun if you want to win. All right. So that's what's going on over there. Let's check back in here. Alchemy. Is it Vivi? Number 1. So look, when you get into these formats where there aren't as many players, you can get this number 2, Celestia Rabbit, 60.7%. Number 1, Vivi, 63.4% win rate. So, and all, you know, all these, but even if you were playing Orzhov Bats in Alchemy at 55.3% win rate, you would rank up at a decent clip, I think. 55% win rate is really nothing to sneeze at. That puts you here in the top 8. And that's, you know, in a format where 63.4% is the top. If you look at standard, Azorius Control is 54.7%. And that's never going to stop an Azorius Control player from playing Azorius Control, right? So the difference between the number 1 and the number 8 is pretty thin, 56.7% to 54.7%. Jump into Historic. Boros Auras on top with a whopping 68.5%, and it is the most popular, so people seem to be on to the best deck there. Boros Energy not too far behind though, 64.5%, and Gruul Eldrazi. A lot of above 60% win rates in this, and as I say, it's a thinner format. I mean, look, they don't even show data for anything but Mono White Lifegain, apparently. There's a Mono White Lifegain player who has installed Untap.gg and plays a lot of Historic or something, and that's why they can show that. I don't know. Timeless. I've heard a lot of people loving Timeless since Strip Mine's been added. A lot of people hating Timeless since Strip Mine has been added. 4-color Show and Tell does not seem to mind Strip Mine. And 5-color Oops All Spells. And not even sure what of these decks would be a Strip Mine deck. Possibly Death and Taxes. I don't think any of these other, maybe Mono Red Stompy. Not a lot of these other decks would probably even bother running Strip Mine. Boros Energy there. It's such a fast format. Strip Mine often doesn't do much. But I've been enjoying watching the videos of people playing it there. And what is on top in Historic Brawl, which is, I don't know what, they need to change this. Speaking of criticism of Untap.gg, it's been called just Brawl for a long time now. This is the Prime Brawl, and then what used to be called just Brawl became standard Brawl. So I don't know how many people even play standard Brawl, but lots of people play historic Brawl. I mean, just Brawl. So we got Tifa is #1 in win rate. Doesn't always say a lot, when these popular ones come in. Hearthhole actually at #3. There you go. These popular commanders, people get sick of playing whatever the flavor of the week is. They get sick of playing against it, and they just auto concede. But look at Vivi. Vivi's going down in popularity. Looks like Azusa had a little peak in the middle of last week, and then Tifa is surging right now. And what is this? Hearthhole also kind of going on a surge, although it may be leveling off here. And #3 in terms of win rate, Tifa just very consistent there on top. Vivi has kind of traded off with Ugin here going into this week. Sephiroth having a little spike going into this week, and Kefka is on the downtrend in terms of win rate, but still positive win rate, still above 50%. Some of these like Codis and Hearthhole actually has kind of a low win rate. Hearthhole is kind of it's a hard one to build, a hard one to play. I built it sort of as, a green landfall deck that also gets to use payoffs from black and red. But you could certainly build a stronger version of it that is, I built the sort of what I thought would be the more fun, appealing version. But anyways, it is popular. Atali still remains popular, but people like their ramp decks. So look, Azusa, Tifa, and probably to some extent Hearthhole. Let's see. Is there any questions before we wrap it up here today? No. Okay. Well, I've been Manadad, reminding you magic is a game so fun.